Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Eddy, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Balaya, is that right?
Balaya.
Balaya, there we go.
Balaya.
So far better that he says it than me. We're going to be talking about today Datasphere Dynamics, smarter, simpler tech solutions for local businesses and success. Well, how does this pertain to you? He says after more than 16 years working in the corporate IT in service and consulting companies and leadership roles, he decided it was time to take everything he'd ever learned and use it to support the kind of businesses that often get overlooked, small and mid-sized companies trying to make things work without reliable tech support. He's seeing how the lack of time, budget, or technical knowledge leads many business owners to treat IT as something they deal with only when it breaks. That's what he wanted to change. At Datasphere Dynamics, the goal is to help business people make smarter technical decisions, take control of their systems, and build sustainability step by step without unnecessary costs or complexity. He has taken more than a few leaps in his life. He's grateful for every one of them. He was born in India, and as a French citizen, he grew up in Pondicherry, attending a French school, where his accent shaped how he'd speak every language afterwards. In 2006, he moved to France for his studies and began working. His first IT job came right after that, and to install antivirus software, which we all need. And from there, he went into sales and leading a global network infrastructure for multiple companies, working with telecom giants like NTT, Tata, and Orange. But why did he change his mind? How did he end up here in Canada? What is it that he's offering, and why do you need it so much in your business? There isn't anything you can do today that doesn't involve technology. There is nothing, there's no system out there that doesn't require you to actually know how to work your computer and programs and everything else. Most people want to get on doing their business without worrying about all the technical stuff. But if you aren't aware of what you need, you're soon going to be aware of what you don't have. So we're going to be picking up Eddy's brain today to find out why you need it, where you need it, and how it can prevent things from going wrong. Welcome to the show, Eddy.
Thanks, Sarah. It's an honor to have to be here with you today.
Honored to have you here. We've actually met in person a few times, which is really nice because mostly I'm interviewing people from around the world, but the world came to me this time, which is nice. So you've definitely been around. Was tech always something that you were drawn to?
So I kind of landed there like randomly, I would say. When I
Mm.
was younger, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and by default, I ended there because I think I was always very good at resolving problems. So that showed up in my first job. By the way, my first job, I got my first IT job. I remember the interview question was, "Do you know how to install an antivirus?" I said no, and I got the job.
I suppose the point of view of that, if we teach you how to do it, then you can teach anyone else how to do it. Right? So,
Exactly, yeah.
you don't want somebody IT, I know it all, and then they lose patience with other people that don't. So, if you didn't know, you learned how, you can pass that knowledge on and actually understand where people are coming from.
100%.
Right? So, that's what we need. We've got a lot of tech people out there that are very techy and they talk tech to you and then wonder why you don't understand. And we understand that we need technology. This is technology right here. But if we don't have the comprehension of how to use it or why to use it, it can be very daunting. It can be very overpowering, or it can really set everything off in our growth of a business. So what made you decide, kind of leaving the big deals, the big boys, and deciding that you wanted to help small companies?
So what I've seen, during my experience, I've worked with small companies and big companies. I feel like there is smaller companies don't have that corporate aspect where you're just a number in a bigger system,
Hmm.
and you like lots of entrepreneurs, they take the leap of faith, right? So that's always inspiring. When I do some door to door, I always speak to business owners here in Nanaimo, and they have a story behind, and they are wearing multiple caps. When you get started the first years, you are doing everything, right? And often we are treating the business like, okay, I have a tight budget, not too much time, and I have to do all this. So I have two choices, really. Either I tackle issues as they come,
Hmm.
like you would do for your own house, if I was
Uh-huh.
to give a simple explanation or a comparison, right? Or you pay an insurance, like a monthly fee that's going to allow you to do proper maintenance on a regular basis, but does your budget allows
Hmm.
it. There's no right way or wrong way, but there's an education there that can be brought. That's number one. Number two is also we think, okay, uh, though, like the best practices are not always for the biggest companies. Even big companies, they have the same problems
Hmm.
sometimes as small companies, because you can't spend time and money on details. And smaller companies have that problem, but bigger companies have the same problem. Let
More
me take an
multiplied. Mm.
multiplied, right?
Yes.
Let me take a quick example for cybersecurity, for example. When you're onboarding your employees, when they are leaving the company, you want to make sure your data stays within the company. Well, guess what? No matter the size of the company, you're going to have the same problem.
Hmm.
Just to state an example, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter the size of it. Everybody's going to have the same problems and the same issues. Obviously, with a bigger company, it's more multiplied. So, obviously, more things can go wrong. With a smaller company, you can identify something going wrong better because it's smaller. But um, tech is tech, whatever the size. And if it's going to go wrong or something drops or something is not working, it can disrupt any company, whatever size it is. And if you're not tech minded, you won't know, oh, it's this code over here that disconnected, which stopped that from happening. It's over our heads most of the time if we're not tech.
Yeah.
And it's like, all I want to know is, can you get it fixed? Can you work it? Well, what you've offering is the stitch in time, having a maintenance that stays on top of everything, which prevents it from breaking down, or if it does break down, getting to the system straight away before it causes disruption in the business. So I think it's like insurance. Like anybody has insurance over their business, over their car, their house, everything else. It's kind of you're paying into an insurance that not only maintains but also helps prevent or deal with a situation at the time.
Yeah, if I was to really bounce back on what you just said there, it would be really simple in three phases, really, where
Mm-hmm.
a company like Datasphere Dynamics would help. As one, maybe you're firefighting every day and you got tech issues, and that's just something that's on top of your mind, and you don't have the time to learn and deal with it. So you want someone that educates you from going to being a firefighter
Mm-hmm.
to being proactive
Uh-huh.
instead of reactive. Step one. Step two would be, okay, once you have put down the fires, you
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure your costs, your processes are optimized. They are a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
And once that's done, maybe your business is growing and your business is ready to take off. Well, you need to make sure your technology is also
Mm-hmm.
ready to take off. So those are the three phases really where I can help not only educate, but be that kind of business partner that handles during these entire three phases.
It used to be that to be successful, you had to wear all the hats and wear all the hats well. And we know that that doesn't work. Each and every one of us is an instrument that once we learn how to play it, we play it well, and we can join an orchestra, but we can also be soloists. If you're a violinist, you may not be a good drummer. And why should you be a good drummer? Let the drummer be the good drummer. He doesn't want to be the violinist. So, in any business, you've got to know how to delegate. Your weakness is not your strength. You don't want that to be your time consuming thing because what you're really good at needs to have the time and the space to do that. So, it's important to be able to hand things off to people that know what they're doing, right, and know how to serve you so you can get on and do what you do well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that applies to so many things, right? When
Yes.
you're falling sick, you don't go to friends or family, you go to a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, nowadays, people go to ChatGPT, but
Yes. Google
that's a
is
whole
out. Google is out.
that,
Dr. Google is out. It's all chat now. Yeah.
that's a whole other debate that I don't want to open that can of worm. But to get the idea, you want to go to someone whose job it is, who wakes up every day to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you have a supplier. You're not doing the supplying. You're selling what they're supplying. And so it's play to your strengths. And, why does a business, especially a small business, a lot of the time they've come from corporate and they want to be their own boss and they want to serve different kind of clientele. And so they've got a passion and a conviction behind what they want to do. But if they don't have their IT in order, it really could be something that they can let down. They can let down their customer from something simple as something going wrong, in the IT department that could disrupt everything. And you don't want that. You want your whole business to be a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. No, that I I completely agree with you. And there's so many stories that you businesses they are not even aware of,
Mm-hmm.
because like stories like horror stories, like somebody who has been in tech for 16 plus years like me, I've been in an environment where the entire factory burns down. What do you
Yeah.
do?
Yes.
I've been in areas where the administrator who is in charge of IT clicks on a link and a ransomware goes in, encrypts all the file.
Yes.
I've been in stories like that. What do you do in there? So it's always when you hear the stories, oh, it's someone else's problem, and it's sad that they had it, but it can happen to you as well, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't want that, right? So that's where like a proactive mindset will really save you tons if you're writing down passwords on a sheet of paper or on a notepad.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking simple examples, which is like convenient, but it's always a balance between convenience, is the business working well, and the risk that you're accepting, right?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, everything is a risk. And, this is why, an antivirus is so absolutely necessary because we've got hackers out there in the world that their only job is to be disruptive, right? Create a worm, a malware, a virus. Some of them, they get paid for doing it. Some of them enjoy doing it, but it's about disruption. And we don't want to see disruption in your business of that kind. Good disruption, not bad disruption. And so that's why, security of your tech is so very important. And you need somebody that is on top of it because the hackers are constantly on top of breaking through. So you need somebody who recognizes, okay, we need to protect the system, a better firewall, a better this, a better that. Because, we've got those people on the other side that it's like, oh, how else can I do this? And we don't want to let them in.
And just to add to that, let me take so I'm going to use really simple comparisons, not
Mm-hmm.
to use technical terms, to
Please.
to make a to make a favor to everybody that are listening, right? If you are driving a car, everybody drives a car, some things breaks down, like let's say a tire pops in the middle of the highway, the risks for you to have other damages
Mm.
or
Yes.
increased, right?
Yes.
and that's going to increase your cost of repairs.
Hmm.
Whereas if you have been maintaining your car and you're aware that, hey, your tire, you got to change your tires, that probability is less likely to happen. The same way, when you got an incident that brings the business down, how many days can you survive with your business being down without
Uh-huh.
being able to send invoices or
Yes,
just simply send emails?
right.
A
Your
small
website
business,
is
the
down and your
impact.
commerce is on your website, right? Yes. How much is it costing you?
So that thinking often, because, and I'm not blaming anyone, it's just the sheer nature of being a small business owner. You have so many things in mind, a tight budget, not too much time. You don't have time to think about that.
No,
So
no.
my mission is to, hey, let's get on the coffee and let's ask those questions. So at least I park it in the back of your mind.
Yeah, yeah. And to understand it's part of doing business. It's a part of having somebody there that's got your back. You know, if something goes wrong or preventing something going wrong, or, you call them up, has happened. I don't know. Most of the time, people say, I don't know what I pressed, or I don't know. I opened up this email, and the next thing I knew, right? Because that's, very often how they send things. And you need to know that there's somebody there that knows what they're doing that can get right on it because it could destroy everything. It can destroy your website, your commerce site. Um, and we know these days that so many people are doing business, even if it's in person, doing business online, and you cannot afford that online to be disrupted.
Yeah. And there is benefits to both worlds. Like we have been going to what we call the cloud,
Yes.
which is not a cloud like in the sky. It's
No.
a cloud in data centers where you have machines, stacks of machines that have your data. That's what we call the cloud. The internet is built of that cloud.
Many, many clouds up there.
The benefit of this is you don't need to have an upfront cost and buy all your hardware. Nowadays,
Right.
you just get a subscription and it goes that fast.
Yeah.
That was very disruptive when all this cloud application and infrastructure started to come for IT professionals like myself, because our job was to install servers, install infrastructure within companies. While that still exists, nowadays, a business owner can get a subscription and get an application just by the snap of a
Yeah.
finger.
Exactly. Yeah. Progress has been made, right? So it's all there. And now a lot of people are then also kind of scared. Well, it's up in the cloud. Who else can access it? All right, especially if it's under something to do with e-commerce and they've got money transactions going on. Can anybody hack it? Can anybody do this? Can anybody do that? Um, so I hope you don't hear the sirens. We seem to have a lot of police in my area today, which is unusual. Um, so we need to know that things are secure, especially when it comes around money and transaction, because it becomes a fear. You hear of even banks being hacking. There was last year, I think it was CIBC that was hacked, and London Drugs. And all of the London Drugs had to close for about a week while they worked it out. Stuff does happen. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's absolutely the end of your world. But if you hand it over to someone who knows what they're doing, they've got a team. They've got a team to get on it. And so we need that security, knowing that there's somebody that can get on it immediately and tackle whatever's going to happen, because stuff does happen. You can do so much prevention. But if that tire on the highway happens to hit something that causes it to burst, it's unforeseen. But you then want somebody that's ready there to put that tire back on, right? And you hope you're a good driver and not spinning out and taking a few other cars with you. If you were my
Yeah.
four-year-old grandson, it would be a pile up immediately. So we don't want that. But we can prevent as much as possible. That when it comes into something happening, you want to know there's somebody there that understands it and can get right on it.
And if I may, like just to give a few gifts, because I really want to, part of my job is to educate
Yes.
my audience, the people I meet, right? think about it like your house or wherever you live. Do you leave your door open and your windows open?
Uh-huh.
Do you leave your credit card wherever
Come
it's
and get
available?
it.
Right? So often we think like, of course, I've been in corporations where cybersecurity, the budget for cybersecurity alone was up to 52 million a year
Wow. Wow. Uh,
with NASA, FBI people, like
yes.
really top-notch skill sets, top-notch technical people. But what I did learn from there is like a big portion of cybersecurity. Yes, there's the cool toys, the cool gadgets, the
Yes.
expensive ones. That's a nice to have. You want to have capture all the data so that in case of an incident, you have forensics uh, to do the analysis of what happened, the root cause of an incident. But remove all that. Let me make it simple for you. We talked about the house, right? The door, the windows. So what would be your main door for a business? It would be your internet connection.
Mm-hmm.
If your internet is open, well, anybody can get in.
Yes.
So you got to think about that. If your computer, your laptop, or a desktop is open, well, anybody can get in.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for your applications, like you log into your emails or any business applications. If it's open, you don't even have a second verification on your phone, an SMS or an authenticator app. The door is open.
Mm-hmm.
So think about these doors, and there is simple steps that cost nothing that could save and prevent things for small businesses. Because often when I talk, the first thing as a business owner, you're, oh, this guy is going to cost me a lot of money. No, the answer is no. Just let's get a coffee. Let's put those questions on your mind and let me
Mm-hmm.
give you a few ideas that could be cost effective. Of course, there is other things that needs to be implemented that might require a little higher expertise, but some businesses, that's just an overkill,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And you'll get some people in business selling the higher package, making people believe they've got to have it. Whereas you said it's overkill. They just don't need it in their small business. So you want to know that there's somebody there that isn't trying to upgrade you, upgrade you, upgrade you all the time, because this is what you see all the time. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade to this and that. And it's like, do I need it? Or is this just, making me feel I need it and it's more expense, but really I don't need it at all. So yeah, it's designing the package for the company, for the size, for what they need. And if they grow, then you can upgrade. But if they're not growing and they're status quo, then what they've got is enough.
you got it. That's a very good summary. That's exactly the approach that I think, as common sense it sounds.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where common sense is not always common practice,
No,
and
it's
that
very
can be
often somewhere
applied
else.
to other,
Yeah.
and that can be applied to so many topics.
So many, so many. And I think that, that common sense point of view is understanding. You've got a lot of people in IT that will talk tech with people and they're talking tech. I have no idea what you're saying to me, right? I'm a person, let me write it down, 1, 2, 3, 4 step. Let me do it a couple of times. Now I know it. But don't tell me, this book for dummies, tech for
Yeah,
dummies. I remember getting that book to help me understand my computer, but the terminology my computer talked and the terminology in the dummies wasn't the same. So it was still something I didn't understand what the hell was going on. And I had to kind of learn as I went. And we don't have that time. And we want to know that the steps that we're taking, A, B, C, and D is enough, and that I can hand this department off to someone else and I don't need to worry. This is the system I use and it's enough. You know what? We've grown. We'd like to upgrade a little bit. Or we'd like to add this or add that. That's great. But you do have companies, persuading people, you need more, you need more, you need more, because for them, it's all about a sale. It's all about the dollar. And
yeah.
we have to be careful of that. The buyer beware. You want to be with someone like you. You're in it to serve people in a way that allows them for their company to grow, their business to grow without hassle. And you want to be known for that. And so your expansion of your own business will be what I call the picket fence. People talking about the experience. He didn't gouge me. He didn't try and upsell me. He was there when I needed him. I haven't had any issues because they're constantly maintaining it for me. That's the kind of partner that you want in business, that this is your expertise. I don't even have to think about it. You're doing it.
And there's always two sides to a story.
Mm-hmm.
And if I may,
Yes,
can I
yes,
share
yes.
it?
Yeah,
There,
absolutely.
there's two sides to a story always. Like take the side, let's start with the side of the technical person, right? The administrator. Imagine someone that's passionate about the technology. He wants to do his job well and he likes cool gadgets. He
Mm-hmm.
often, when he sees a technology solution, he wants to implement everything.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, it's not the case of all the technical people out there. Some of
Yeah.
them have that ability to simplify things, but I've met
Yeah.
a bunch of technical people who have that passion. And when you're passionate, you just want to play with the tool and you implement everything, and you end up creating a machine that's so complex that who are going to use that solution at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an accountant or maybe a business user, an
Mm-hmm.
HR, anyone. And those users are not technical. If you make their life easy, they will be happy. If not, you will make their life a nightmare. They won't adopt your technology. They will end up raising more tickets in your support queue. And that aspect, often the technology, we have beautiful, like really high performance, like technology has made a huge progress in the past decades.
Oh,
Like
amazing. Mm-hmm.
I don't even need that's I don't even need to say it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're implementing, so often those technologies work well. What makes them complex is the
Yes, yes.
human who sets it or the human who are using it. Right? So that's the one side of the story, the technical person. The business user, what he needs to know, the owner
Mm-hmm.
or the manager, he wants to know how much is going to cost me? Is it going to save? How much time is going to save?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to accelerate the process, the steps? Am I going to do things that I've done before faster, cheaper, and more efficiently?
Yeah.
That's
And
all that
safer
it
and
cares.
safer. Yeah.
And safer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all that it cares.
Yeah.
Two sides of
Exactly.
the story that I think is worth mentioning.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you there. You know, why are you selling me something? And of course, you know, those tech people, yes, they're enthused about it. Maybe they're also on, you know, commission sale. And the more they upgrade, they get more money. But they may be enthusiastic about it. But that's you. That's your tech world. You know, don't give me something that's so complex to use that I'm frustrated and it's costing me more time in using it because I don't know how to use it well. You know, if you're supplying somebody something and everything is going well and you come to them and say, okay, we're doing an upgrade, because in technology you always need upgrades. That's natural. Everybody knows that a new programming gets updates, and that's fine. That's something we expect. But to be sold an upgrade that we don't need just because somebody's either making a commission or they're enthusiastic about it, but all it's going to do is cause us gray hairs, we don't want that. And we've seen too much of that in the past.
It should be so often. So I've been learning that because as a technical person, as an introvert, naturally, I've been learning to be a better communicator at these
Yeah.
things. And it's always something that I learned is it's always about the other person.
Hmm.
And why this is important, people they don't care what you know,
Hmm.
and they need to know that you care enough, that you care enough before they listen to you.
Yes.
They care that you know that you're asking the right question, that you care about them. Forget about your features. Hey, I can do this, I don't care
Yeah.
about what you do.
Right.
I
How
care
does it
about,
pertain to me? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
am I feeling good when I'm talking to you? How am I
exactly.
feeling? The emotional factor. And the emotional
Mm-hmm.
factor has nothing to do with the technology, even
No,
with the business. It's a
yes.
personal rapport that you have to build first.
Yeah, I always say people have to buy you before they buy from you.
Yeah.
And if they don't feel a connection with you because they don't feel that you are talking to them, you're talking to the dollar sign that they're wanting to get from you, you know the difference with that. Because for you to have a person, all the niceties that need to happen first over that cup of coffee, and then tell me about your business. And then from there, you can say, do you have this? Do you have that? And then from there, well, this is what I propose for your thing. But you tell me if this feels right or not. But if you don't listen, how do you know what to give them? And if it's all about the dollar sign, then you're not there for the right reasons, and the people feel it. There's a lot of competitors out there today. People don't want to be treated like another number, another docket,
Yeah.
another Android, kind of speaking to you through the chat. Actually, I like ChatGPT. That's a different story altogether. But when you go onto a program and they don't give you a human to talk to, it's just the chat. What is your problem? You put in your problem. Sorry, that doesn't compute. Can you say it a different way? And you think, I don't know how else to say it. This is broken or this isn't working. I'm sorry, that doesn't compute. It drives you crazy. You want to know that you can actually get a human being and explain it in your way that they get to understand and know what to do about it. I can't talk tech back to you. I don't know what it is. I know that something's not working or I need this. And I don't need anybody being condescending because they're IT and you're not. Of somebody that really does care about my business and is looking to have a long-term relationship in that business and that you can count on.
Yeah. So there's two ways, right? In order not to, as an IT person, I started my career in an help desk. One of the things that you learn by dealing with IT issues is often it's very common for like IT folks to have first frustrated people to come to us. So there's different flavors of admin. Those who are like, hey, I'm very confident and I'm telling you this is how the technology work. And the one who's going to try to bring that emotion level first
Uh-huh.
down, step one, which is don't forget this step. Bring the emotions down. Then we talk about the facts.
Yes.
When did it happen? What happened? Did you change anything?
Mm.
Okay, I got you. Don't worry. I'm going to like deal with your issue.
Yeah. No blame,
Different
no
approach.
shame, right?
No blame, no shame.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that approach, often we are going to see either as humans, you are landing with someone who's good at this, or the AI, the robots that you have been having, they sound more and more like humans, and they
Hmm.
are going to be better at that at some point. And nowadays, even in the banks, if you take like the big banks, when you call in, at some point when you are frustrated, and you are letting the robot know, it will put you through a
To a
real
human.
agent
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
have baked that kind of there there is an algorithm that measures what's your emotional level to bake
I'm
that
on
into a
screaming pitch.
redirection.
Give me a human.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there you go.
And I've actually found on my site I'm with WordPress and I meant to have support and I would be chatting with them and they go, well, what do you mean, what do you mean? And I go, okay, this page, this is blown or this is dropped or this is that. I don't see it, so I'll give them the link. Oh, I don't see it on the page, and it's back and forth, and then, well, I've gone on my break now, somebody else will take over. What do you want? And I got to start all over again. And it's so frustrating. And I think what the best thing for a company, yes, you can have that automation to a point, but you must have the human interaction. We must be able to speak to a human when that interaction, automated interaction doesn't answer something and we need more detail. Because again, I can't talk tech to you and say that this CSR or the RSS feed or this or that is not working. Um, I don't understand what's not working. And so it's to show you what's not working where and for you to see it. And if you've got people that are on too many calls at the same time, which pees me off, I can be an hour because I know I'm waiting 10 minutes in between every response because they're also working on other people. And that, is you expect it from big companies, but I think that's also their downfall. The company that is, you need a human being, here's a human being, I'm here for you, human to human. I'm here for you is the one that will succeed.
So in order to address this, and I'm going to share how this is a very common issue, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, am I having a communication channel enabled to get someone to help me?
Mm-hmm.
So multiple times I built multiple managed services before I
Yes.
built my own. The biggest one was a multiple $1 million business that I handed over when I was in a corporate environment. I won't say names to keep the confidentiality. Um, but what I learned is make sure when you onboard a client, and this is an advice for any IT companies out
Mm-hmm.
there, or even maybe you're a business owner and you want to make sure your partner, the partner you're choosing, is the right one. How do you vet a
Mm-hmm.
partner?
Yeah.
So these are steps that you want to take notes, right? So make sure you are very clear. You are giving a cheat sheet when you're onboarding a client on how do I who do I call? What email do I send? What is the email I need to send my issues to? Is there a chat? Is there a portal? Depending on your user, they're going to have a go-to preference, right? So some people prefer to be on the phone. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are okay with a virtual meeting. Some people are okay with a chat. Establish that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if those channels are saturated, you're not getting a response, which is the case, the example that you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
in a big company, I wait for 1 hour or something. You need to have another channel, which is what we call an escalation matrix. Those are best practice. What's an escalation matrix? You call the level one, okay, you're not getting a response. You call the level two. Usually it's a manager level. Then there's a level three, uh, maybe another lead beyond the manager, a director level. And some companies have all the way up to 8 levels.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're going to ask me, which is common sense, what if people call the last level all the time? Because for people, it's always their priority is the most urgent thing,
Of
even if
course.
something is burning down.
Yes.
Well, that's part the people that are in this escalation matrix, they're used to dealing with that
Mm-hmm.
thing. And at some point, if you're calling for your printer issue when an entire department is down, and you're calling the maximum level, which in some companies it's the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're calling the owner for your printer issue and he's telling you, well, I got an entire department that's down, you kind of feel like, okay, I get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So something, two mechanisms that make sure that it's built in, and you don't need to be a big corporation to have that kind of simple system.
Exactly. And I think that's so very important. And many of the organizations, especially like websites and things like this, don't have that. You do not have access to a human. You can email back and forth, but then again, emailing back and forth, it's still the same like chat, and then nobody's getting it. Whereas if you actually had somebody you can talk to and say, look, this is my issue, I can describe it. I can't describe it in your terms. I can only describe it in mine. So you need to have people in the IT that are the tech support that actually understand layman terms. We're going to describe something as a thingamajig, not a not a code this or that. We don't understand. All we know, this isn't working. We don't understand why. Otherwise,
And
we go and get hire a tech person to work in the company to manage it. And we don't really want to have that kind of budget. We want to hire an organization that does it, that is there for us when we need them, whether it's a quick chat and it's resolved, an automation, or whether, oh no, I can actually talk to a human.
yeah, yeah. And that is typically called, when you go into the AI realm, this is called the human in the loop.
Yes.
which is putting a human in the process when it's beyond the AI capabilities. And you have seen probably some companies they start putting a level two engineer, someone who's not just an assistant who takes information, but keep in mind if you want that level of service, it's usually costs more because these people they don't have the same salaries, right?
Right.
And there are
Yeah.
always two sides to the story,
I
right?
know. But, as I think, and I don't think it's just my generation. I talk to younger people like this as well, where they get just as frustrated of, I want to talk to somebody who understands what the problem is. And then, well, can I talk to your superior, or your manager? No, and I was told that categorically with one thing. Sorry, I don't care if I give you a manager or not. The answer is going to be no. And it
Oh,
just kind of blew
no,
my mind.
that's
And that was it, shut down. That was it. So you're like, wow, where's the customer service there? And I was not being, there are some customers that are very, very naggy and demanding. I wasn't. I had a problem and they just weren't willing to address it at all. And that puts, kind of a bad taste in your mouth. And so I've been there, but I've also been on the other side where I've had excellent service because the person decided to hear me, ask the right questions to define what the problem is, and then be able to address it bit by bit. And that's, I think, whoever's employing people, whether they're second level or this year, is teach them customer service, please.
and you can and you said it right. The humans is like hiring like I want to I'm not a HR person, but hiring has always been it's not an exact science
No, no.
because you put a resume out there, you get to speak to someone in 1 hour. How do you build a relationship in 1 hour? Like when you choose your life partner, do you just
Yeah,
is it okay in 1 hour? After 1 hour you made the decision you get married? No.
no.
Right?
It's not a
And
TV show, reality show. Right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is where I would suggest to companies is that you like this person, they seem eager, probation time. And go to, hire you for the week and see how you do. I don't expect you to know everything, but if I see a willingness to learn and I see that, you're interacting well, then I'll take you on full time. And I think as an owner of any company, that's perfectly okay to do because that person may decide it's not right for them either. Right. So I think probational time of let's see how we work together, um, when you're hiring somebody and see how it goes. Um, and then especially, I know there's a lot of people that hide behind IT and they're just computer people. They do not want to talk to a human being. Then do not put them in this position. Let them just be the coders and the tech people behind the scenes. Put people that are more personable in the customer service realm.
Yeah, one of the big challenges and the reason I was very fortunate to have lots of opportunities throughout my career. It was I would often hear the same thing. Hey, I want the person who's fully technical, who's a very good communicator, who's very good at documenting, like basically the five leg sheep, right? And
Four legs and a
humans.
tail.
Yeah, four legs and a tail. And it's very challenging because often someone who's very technical might not be good at communication, like you
Mhm.
said, and might not be a good communicant. So how do you build a team of four people? Then suddenly you have to pay three people, an entire team of salary. For a corporation, that might be viable and feasible, but for a small business, how do you deal with that?
You hire three people that are highly technical and two people that are floaters. They're technical, but they can also be customer service if needed. Versatility, because we can all be versatile. There's plenty of tech people that can be versatile. And I think it's just making sure the balance is there. You can have the high tech, and then they can actually say, okay, this is above my understanding. I can give it to George, the high tech, but I can at least translate what the customer's issue is, right? I can't fix it, but I can translate it to the person that can. rather than that person talking directly to the customer who doesn't understand what they're asking. So you have the buffer in between, capable of doing stuff, but at the same time capable of communication.
Yeah, the training, so the training goes a long way.
Mm.
So part of the service when you're in a customer service, a tech support, you got to iron out a few items.
Yes.
One is your onboarding, making sure that they know what to do, what not to do. Make sure you have a survey system going on. Measure the metrics with customer satisfaction. Put the
Mm-hmm.
bonuses based on customer satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that the person who was rude to you, that's saying that your manager, his manager cannot help you, he wouldn't tell you that ever if his
Right.
bonus was based on customer
Yeah,
satisfaction.
exactly. Incentive.
Companies like Amazon, they understood that really early on. That's why today they have a reputation to have like top-notch customer service,
Mm-hmm. You can actually talk to somebody. Yeah.
which is a base, and it's not related. I want to emphasize that that's not related to the technology. It's all human, right?
Yes. And the thing is having a human who understands what the person is asking for, and then it can go up to the people that are more qualified. But again, being that translator in many ways, right? Understanding what the human wants, but knows how to articulate it to the person that's higher tech. And I think that's, kind of what I think companies need to actually incorporate in order to actually understand that, this is what works and what's needed. So, you've worked with the big companies, all the things with the big companies, the faux pas, the foils, the things that obviously you left for a reason, right? It wasn't just I'm going to be there to help the small companies, you left for a reason. And then it's, well, what about the small companies? Who's serving them? And I've interviewed quite a number of people that in different forms of technology have decided nobody's paying attention. And how they came about it is my aunt needed this or my uncle needed that. And I realized there was no service for them because they're deemed by the two big companies too small. So, oh, I haven't got time for you. You're too small a bracket. We won't make enough money off you. So I call it the difference between the contractor and the handyman. And the handyman can be busy all the time because there's
Yeah.
always the little jobs that need doing. The contractor wants the big job, will only get a couple of big jobs a year, and he's always looking for another big job. The handyman is always going to be in need.
And that's a great point, Sarah. I feel there's a balance. I left the corporate world for, I think I like working. I always liked working. But one of the reasons I left the corporate world was more a personal reason. For me, I felt like, okay, there's lots of transformation happening. You lose your job once, you lose
Mm-hmm.
your job twice, and maybe I can share that
Yes,
story.
yes.
Is um it's really the there's two things. I always wanted waking up when I was a kid. Since I was a kid, I was always someone who asked lots of questions. And I asked myself
Curious.
lots of questions. I was very curious. And my mom once told me, like, hey, you know that kids that ask questions are actually smarter. She put
Mm-hmm.
that in my head. So I ended up being that annoying kid who was always asking lots of questions.
Good for you.
So that drove me, even today, it drives me whenever I wake up, hey, is this what I want to do all my life?
Mm-hmm.
That was one driving factor. The second thing is like, there is one part of, like, they call it the rat race. They call like, you're in a job and you like what you do, but let me take an example. Like in 2020, I was working in a big financial firm. I had a big role. I was about to buy my own place. I put the down payment. 2 weeks later, I get laid off,
Oh,
not for performance reasons, for I was just on the wrong side of the Excel spreadsheet.
yes, yes.
Later, I learned that that company hired, I think, two people and a contractor because they had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Uh, at that time, I felt like, okay, that's unfair because I'm now in a budget constraint. I can't go see my parents. I have to look for another job. Then, then a second time, I was in a corporate environment. Same thing, a real restructuration happened.
Hmm.
So I lost my job, and I was like, okay, now I have a house, a mortgage. I got my wife, my dogs. Like I got mouths to feed. And
Yes.
how you think about that? And still my dad health-wise was not doing well at that time. You think about it. Is it fair for me not being able to be there for my
Hmm.
parents? Think about it. Like, I've seen a video recently on social media, like, someone saying that you can count the number of Christmas and New Year's you are going to spend with your parents,
Hmm.
and it's not lots,
No.
right? So having a job for me was like, okay, when I lose the job, it puts me in that unfair situation.
Hmm.
That was the breakout for me, which is unrelated to what I know and what the business. IT technology, I've always been passionate resolving problems, but that was the main reason why I really went and built this company. Just I wanted to share
No.
that
I mean, but I
story.
call those the redirect. It's kind of the universe gives us a nudge, nudge, and wink, wink, and then if we're not paying attention, it gives us a cosmic two by four. And it gave
Yeah,
you two by fours saying, no, you're not even meant to be in big
yeah,
corporate. You're meant to be out there serving the smaller businesses because nobody else is. So, it all you were done is redirected to where you're meant to be. But you had to come across it as a reason. This is taking away my ability to see my dad because I don't have the job, I don't have the security. Can I pay the mortgage? Are we going to lose the house? And just like a small business, that gets also, when big companies downsize, it affects small companies as well. But it's also an opportunity for small companies to take up the slack and grow in that time period with the right mindset. But again, who's there serving the small company? Because the big company is busy chasing the big contracts, right?
yeah.
So the smaller contracts, like the handyman, being there, I've made it secure. I'll come back and check on it. That roof ain't going nowhere, right? Rather than the big ones where it's, oh no, a bigger fish came along. I'm going to drop you, or you're waiting for everything and everything is over budget and you don't end up with what you want anyway. So you've made it more interactive and more personal and more community, more kind of I'm a small business too. I understand what you're going through. If you succeed, I succeed. So I'm there to make sure you succeed.
And one piece of advice that I can share, and also something that I learned, is like it's not about the small business or medium business, their budget. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about their budget because if they have the like change the mindset, right? You know your value.
Mm-hmm.
You know your value, and you're bringing a solution that's going to cost you your time. Maybe you have some investment to do. Just size that properly of what you use your good judgment on
Mm-hmm.
that, and then you put your pricing point. If you can do an effort, good. If not, fine. But what's the advice I want to give is like keep your value. You know your value best,
Yes.
not anyone else. If they don't have the budget, just tell the client, okay, maybe I can downsell something, or maybe we come back in 6 months or a
Mm-hmm.
year and then we revisit that, and that's okay. You can still be friends because
Yes.
there's talking business and there's building the rapport. Don't mix both.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, like, don't take it personally if that company cannot hire you right now. When there's suddenly they're doing well, they've got more influx of money. Now they can because they respected that you respected them and
Yeah,
you weren't pushy. The one thing I absolutely positively hate is pushy people.
yeah,
Stop pushing because all I can see is you're on commission and need money. We all need money, but
yeah,
stop pushing me into something I'm not comfortable with. If
yeah,
I'm saying no, I might be saying no forever, or I might be saying no, not right now. But if all I've had from you is push, 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 I ain't calling you back when I'm ready.
yeah.
So, yes, it is. All businesses are about relationships. All businesses, no matter big, small, solo, or monstrous, it's all about relationships. Relationship with your workers, relationship with your team, relationships with your clientele. And if people feel noticed, if they feel heard, if they feel that you care, then you've got a good rapport, you've got a good relationship, and from there, much can grow. But if it's all about next, 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 next docket, next dollar sign, next this and that, that's going to be a company that will not succeed in the long run.
And it's never about that, right? That's why, like in corporate presentation, you always hear the word value.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people get that word, that value fatigue, because it's
Yes,
so overused, but there is a reason why it's overused, right?
yes. And where is the value? Is the value actually in rooting with a customer? When a customer is happy with someone's service, they're going to make sure other people that are starting a business or have a business know about it. I call that the picket fence syndrome. When you're happy with something, you're going to share it. Equally, if you've had a bad experience, you're going to share it as well, right? But you want people to refer. I'm having such a good experience with these people, and I want to share that. And that is, you're doing well when you get referrals, when people come to you from a referral, because that's a
Yeah.
compliment and a testament to your work.
To your word or the rapport. Even I've had referrals from people I met
Yes,
in events, and
yes,
they have never seen me work.
exactly. Again, going back to what I said, they bought you. They had a rapport with you. Now they're more interested in what you do. Hence the reason we're
Yeah,
doing this show,
yeah.
right? We had a conversation. I bought you. I don't know anything about IT, but I do know it's exceptionally important for any business. And you serve small businesses. I serve small businesses. And it's about being there and supporting one another. Let's leave the competition for the Olympics. Why do we have to compete against each other? There's plenty for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's building a rapport, being known. My son has a restaurant in Maple Ridge, BC, and it's a small little restaurant, but it's really built a reputation. During COVID, he was open, providing people food, pivoting all the time, and we're going into catering. Now he does the school lunches every year, and he's about to buy another big business and branching out in it. And he's got support from the people because he has put the people first, the people that work for him, the people that he serves. And he's been invited to be on boards because of who he is and the rapport that he built up. But he took the time, was always himself. People knew that he was passionate and that he cared. And so they wanted him. And that's the thing. When you show you care, I care about your business, I care about you as a person, then people want to work with you.
And there's two things. It's funny you mentioned that, and thank you for sharing that story. Um, there's two things I learned. One is like I was always I like to work at work. I was not good at studies at
Mm-hmm.
university. I was not good. I was not showing up. And if my dad knew at that time, he would have killed me probably. You know, he was very, and part of the structure that I have is thanks to him, the way he raised me today. So I am, and I will be forever grateful for that. But you, um, I lost my train of thought.
um, the
It
due
happens.
diligence of learning, right? And building that rapport.
Thank you. So, you want there's two things, right? There's one, you got to know what's your type. Are you a logical person or are you an emotional person?
Uh-huh.
Everybody have a mix of both, but
Yes, yes,
some
yes, yes.
have one that's dominant and the other like less dominant. So I've always been a logical person. Give me a problem, I get the facts, I resolve it. I'm a bullet point person.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about customer service, right? And often we in customer service we want to make sure that we serve the psychological profile of
Yes.
the customer.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
everybody is compatible with everyone.
No.
If you go to a bar or you go to an event, uh, like a marketplace, you're not going to talk to everyone.
No. No.
You're
You're
going
going
to
to
have that
go.
affinity with that
Yeah.
one person.
Yes.
So that's important to acknowledge that. And the second thing is, as a high achiever, like I was always like working a lot. I was like, okay, I'm a high achiever, I'm a high performance, but there is a caveat that comes with that.
Hmm.
What's the caveat? Is sometimes when you go alone, you can perform things fast and well, maybe, but you don't go far.
Mm. Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
need the people,
Yes.
you need to sometimes tune down, have some humility in order to be able to work in a team, in order
Hmm.
to delegate, be
Yes.
okay with something that's maybe good enough in your mind, but will bring you much further than what's not good enough, but top notch.
Yes. And to know your strengths and in your team. I'm a true colors coach, the four key personality traits. The
Oh,
military
yeah.
uses this true colors. Government uses it. Obviously, Microsoft uses it. Many companies do to identify the strength of the personality. Are they analytical? Are they a go-getter? Are they an intuitive? Are they a builder? And you want to have all four in your company because each one of them playing to their strength rounds out the information that you need in order to serve your clientele. If everybody was all the same personality trait, you're not going to go very far. You need people that push you or question you or say there's a better way, or we can do it this, we can do it that, and the cohesiveness of together, but the diversity of each other coming at it from a different point of view, and everybody putting it on the table, and then you picking and putting together what's best to be built. That's what makes a good team, and that's what makes a good company.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to share those two lost lessons that I learned, and it's also a growing journey, right? We
Yes.
are not perfect human beings,
No.
and we learn on the way. What's important is to learn and
Yes.
to
Yes.
actually learn and implement what you're learning.
And to understand that what you know today, they'll be maybe obsolete tomorrow, or just there's something new tomorrow. I think always keep the wonderment in your life, the exploration in your life. I'm 70. I'm still very wondrous about life. you know, uh, are we going to get out of this pickle that we're in right now? And how much of our own empowerment can be a part of the solution? And I think as if we become status quo or complacent, or feel we've done it all, I know it all, then we're never going to grow. And it is about growth. And then it's about sharing that growth, sharing that knowledge and that wisdom with other people. And that's how we stay young and alive and vibrant, and can embrace, that old age with that knowledge that we can now share along with others.
And there's thoughts coming to me as you're speaking. There's thoughts bouncing to me, because I was thinking like the reason why I moved to Canada. Why? I don't know if I ever shared that with you.
No, no.
Is it okay if
Yes,
I
yes, yes.
share? And the reason why I moved to Canada is I'll make it short. Is I so as you mentioned, I was born in India as a French citizen,
Hmm.
and I went to a French school in the south of India in my hometown, called Pondicherry. Now they call it Puducherry. They So I had a French accent in whatever language I would later learn.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, I always have an accent. Even though I'm Indian, I like the tradition, I like the food, I
Hmm.
like everything about India. I feel Indian. But with my friends, I always felt like a stranger, like a freak.
Hmm.
And when I spoke French, I had zero accent. So after high school, you know what? Let's okay. I had two choices: move to France or stay in India, continue in the English system. So I moved to France. There's also a girl involved, but that's maybe a story for another day. And so I moved to France, and I thought, okay, finally, I'm going to feel like home. I'm going to
Hmm.
integrate well. But here I was in France, and I sounded exactly as everybody, but now I looked different.
Ah, yes, yes.
I
Yeah.
looked different, and I was like, okay, something's wrong. And then in 2009, I came to Montreal as an exchange student, and at that time, I realized I was very attracted to Canada,
Mm,
who has one of the best immigration systems, I think, in the
hmm.
world. Really, like, of course, there's the geopolitical situation that put that apart.
Yeah.
I had the best experience coming to Canada. And by definition, everybody I meet, what made me a freak made me a normal person
Hmm.
in Canada. And I
Yes,
moved to Vancouver
because it's very
with that in
diverse.
mind.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Canada is very cosmopolitan. It's people from all walks of life, all cultures. And the beauty is they bring their culture. My ex-husband is Chinese. So my kids were brought up with, Chinese influence and British influence because I'm from Britain, but also the Canadianism, right? So it's now they've got all three of these things inside of them, which makes it just, broaden out even more. But, Canada isn't about segregation, it is about inclusion. And that's the beauty of it.
And one more thing, in Paris, you also have,
Yeah.
it's a multicultural
Yes.
a city,
Ethnicity.
right? But do you feel that inclusion? No.
Yes.
And that's why, like in when I moved to Canada, that that was a game changer. And why I brought that small story, I know, to come back to the initial topic is I was seeing all my friends, my childhood friends, they were settling down, getting kids, getting their houses, and something felt wrong for me. I was like, no, I need to do something with my life first, and I don't want to go into, which is very a traditional stereotype, right? At the end
Yes.
of
Oh,
the
yes.
day,
Oh, yes.
in India, get a good, not even in India, I think that's wrong. I can say anywhere in the world,
Hmm.
it's like just get married, get your house,
Hmm.
and
2.2
you know,
kids. Yeah.
2.2 kids or dogs,
Yeah.
and just get old. I felt like something was wrong. That was one of the main reasons why I came to Canada. Okay, I need to step back, maybe go a little bit further, and I'm hoping that will allow me to jump back to get closer to family
Hmm.
someday.
How did you end up in Nanaimo? Because that is not Montreal.
So I wanted to slow down. So I was always attracted by the West Coast life.
Hmm. It's a beautiful
Uh,
lifestyle, folks.
It's a beautiful lifestyle. You know, I was an ex biker. Well,
Mm.
biker, when you say biker in France, is the motorcycle biker,
Hmm.
not bicycle.
Right.
I traveled like more than 16,000 on a Kawasaki GSR 750. I used to that just ride to live, you know.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
that type of vibe, that's for me, that was everything. And the West Coast life was all about that, like, hey, chill. And I wanted to slow down from Paris as well.
Hmm.
I was considered to be fast-paced for
Hmm.
Paris in the work environment.
Hmm.
So when I came to Vancouver, I was like, everything is in slow motion here. What's happening?
Yes, which pisses East people off because, yeah, we're
Yeah,
manana, we're enjoying life.
yeah, exactly. And then I met my wife. We moved in together. We felt like Vancouver was a little bit too much for her,
Hmm.
and we decided to move also for, real estate in Vancouver.
Yeah, oh God, yes.
Prices like
Crazy.
was not within our budget at that time. So we decided to move to Nanaimo, smaller town, and sometimes we felt also having less choice, being in a smaller town,
Yeah.
it makes you more happy because in a big town, you have so much choice, so much things you can do. You always, you have FOMO, you develop FOMO, fear
Hmm.
of missing out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
that
that
makes you
that'd be my
miserable.
one daughter. She's got to, go from this one to this one, this one. I said, can't we just stay at one and enjoy the one? But no, no, we got to go on here, we got to go on there. She's very much caught up in that in Vancouver. And Nanaimo, I always said, if you don't like the color green, don't come to Nanaimo because there's a trillion green trees around here. But if you like, open roads, and beauty and lakes and walks and climbing and just the manana life of enjoying life, you're definitely here. I've only been here a year myself, and I'm loving it. And I'm over Vancouver. It just got too static and too busy for me. And so you honored yourself, and is that from where then the business started in moving in Nanaimo?
So I started the corporation in 2021. At that time, it was more, I was a contractor. It was a
Mm,
one-man show. I was like
yeah.
on a one full-time contract at the time,
Hmm.
like one contract at the time. Um, and that contract was coming to an end, and I started building like a team of partners in order to, because I was always in my mind, it was like alone I can't go far. I need to
Hmm.
build a team.
Hmm.
So I reached out to a few ex-colleagues. I got like, so I contacted a few people, and then I built a small team. Right now, we were four, and now we are a team of three people that allows me to offer the services I give, which is
Hmm.
like the managed services, and we are operating remotely. I'm the only one here in Nanaimo,
Hmm.
but that allows me to sleep at night because I
Yes,
offer 24/7 services,
right.
and so I need people. I have people I can rely on to address issues at night basically.
Because it's their daytime.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's the thing about, especially any form of tech these days, it is a 24/7 job. So having people, and it's an online thing, so it doesn't have to be in an office, and having people strategically placed in different time zones is very wise because then they're there to serve the people in that time zone, and very, very smart. So you're serving smaller businesses, medium businesses. If somebody's interested, how do they reach out to you? What is the first step that you have with them?
So the first step, they can email me personally at Eddy at datasphereIT.ca. I'll leave that email. Or they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very responsive on like those channels.
I'm going to
And
give you a LinkedIn name, which is IAMEDDY. And of course, the Datasphere Dynamics.com, which is also on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram as well. But for your LinkedIn, it's I am Eddy, Eddy.
yes,
So
Eddy
whichever
was
way.
not available.
Right, exactly. And you have a free gift for people. So you'd like to explain about that?
Yes, so there's two things where I want to give back really, and that's my approach of also doing business is I can give you like let's go for if you're local, we can go for a coffee, meet in person. I still do those, or virtually if you're anywhere else. Um, 1 hour consultation where we get to know each other. I ask you questions. Uh, it's really about getting to know your business and for me to put the right questions in your mind
Mm-hmm.
as a business owner, right? We don't speak technology. We speak
Mm.
about your business and what makes
Needs.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and worst cases, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, we created a connection on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, and we all know as business owners that it's all about networking, right?
Absolutely.
So the
Exactly.
second thing I can offer, which is a free assessment of your entire IT infrastructure. So depending on how big your IT infrastructure is, I used to call it an audit. I don't call it an audit
Mm.
anymore because for liability, not
Right.
not liability, but for it, like I can't
Misconstrued
call
to
it like
taxes. Yes.
or yeah, or
Mm.
misinterpretation.
Yeah.
But that assessment, what it is that it will give you, it will give you a bird's eye picture of your entire IT infrastructure, whether it's networking, your data, cybersecurity, your servers, your computer. And I will, in that assessment, me and my team, we check about over 200 points of areas that we check.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that, you will get a report with what's the probability, the likeness of you being impacted by that line item.
Mm-hmm.
It's all like categorized by high, medium, low. So you can have a roadmap and prioritize what's important. Because often you get overwhelmed. Oh my God, I need to put an antivirus. Oh my God, I
Mm-hmm.
need to secure my internet. No, don't worry. I'll give you a checklist that you just
Yeah.
need to follow and you can budget over time. Makes your life simple at the end of the day.
Right. So you take the complexity and simplify it in layman terms for the customer so that the customer knows it's in good hands, doesn't have to worry about it, and can get on doing what they're doing best.
Exactly.
Peace of mind, and just like you buy certain systems, it's all about knowing that something's working in the background, and that's what you need. And there isn't a business today that's going to be successful that doesn't have some sort of online presence. And many people, especially since COVID, are working virtually now and serving their clientele everywhere, even in sales. Even if they have a little shop front, they put things online and sell them as well, as instead of just be relying on bricks and mortar. So it doesn't really matter what business you've got. You all need, the IT setup in the background, and you want to know it's there, it's being looked after. Any troubleshooting, it's going to be addressed, and you can just get on doing and being who you're meant to be without the
Yeah,
worry of it.
you summed it up well. That's pretty much the mindset that we want to achieve, um, at least on the theory.
Yes, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. You know, you may look at someone and go, okay, you're not ready for this, or you are ready, or you're ready for that. But in most of the time, we don't know what we need, and we don't know why we need it, right? We just know we need to have something, but we don't know what, why, or how. And when somebody comes at you and does the assessment, this is why you need it, this is what it will do, this is why it's important to help your business grow, then it's like, okay, I understand the ABCs. Now we can implement it and you can manage it, and I don't need to worry about it.
And there's one guarantee that I can give that I'm very confident on because uh, because I've done it like already with multiple businesses here in the area is let's get on a quick conversation and I can guarantee you that just that with that call you'll have questions that will give you value, that will put in your mind things that's important to know.
Mm-hmm,
That's one thing. The assessment, you will be surprised what I find there,
mm-hmm.
because I was very fortunate, and not to brag, but I wore multiple hats in my
Yes,
career, which
preparing you for
is
today.
which is huh?
It
which is
prepared you for now, right?
it prepared everything.
Yes.
You know, in life, things at some point they connect with
Yeah.
everything. Everything you have done, it's meant to be. If you
Yes.
believe in karma, right? We
Oh,
talk about
yes.
karma, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I've been like in technical roles, an administrator. I've been in management roles, project management, leadership roles, manage people. I've dealt with audit, with compliance. I worked hand on hand with top-notch cybersecurity people. So you can have experts, but you can having someone who have all these
Multiple
areas,
experiences.
who
Mm.
can talk with it. And
Yes.
nowadays you have
Yes.
an expert in your pocket called
Mm.
ChatGPT as well,
Yes.
which makes it even amplifies that phenomenon, right? So uh, having that all those areas covers for a small business, that assessment that I'm talking about, that I take like sometimes 20 hours, 25 hours, that
Hmm.
I'm offering for this audience because of our good relationship, Sarah. I got to tell you, like, I've paid for audits when I was in leadership roles for thousands of dollars to go through a similar level of assessment. So that report that you will get from that, just that alone, it's an immense value, and that's a gift that I want to give just to showcase everything we have talked about and the mission behind
Okay, how
Datasphere.
many people are you offering this to, love? Because obviously not to everyone. So the first, how
Yeah.
many?
That I wanted to limit it in time, like for the month of July, like anyone that would book it by end of July, so that we get it scheduled. Beyond July, yeah, I want, like, it's good that you brought it up because I wanted to mention it. I do want to limit it because I can't
Yes.
spend 20 to 25 hours
No, on everybody. No.
without any cost, right?
So the first three people in the month of July.
In the month of July, yes.
Okay, excellent. And that is such a good deal. It's a value, 20 hours at the value of $3,000. So that's an incredible offer there. And it just shows you exactly, we all, what we don't know is what we don't know. And when we are aware, we care. When we care, we do something about it. And sometimes we just need somebody to give us that overview and something we don't understand. And when we do comprehend, how complex it is and how necessary it is, or how it will help our business, then we're empowered to do something about it. But most of the time, we just simply don't know. We don't know
Yeah.
what we need or why we need it or how it works. And we're not meant to. That's what your job is. Your
Yeah.
job is to show us why we need it, how to work it, and that you can do everything for us so we can get on doing our own job. And that's
Yeah.
really what we want. That's called teamwork, right?
Yeah,
Is
think about it like servicing your car.
exactly, exactly. It's like, go to them. I've got a ding. Well, what is the ding? Where is it? I don't know. I'm just hearing a ding. They assess it to find out where the ding is coming from, right? So,
Yeah,
you don't have to be the mechanic to speak to the mechanic, and
yeah,
that's what we need. We need people who actually understand your language, um, and be able to assess the problem so they can rectify it, and that's what's important. So, thank you so much for being with us here, Eddy. It's been great talking to you. Thanks for sharing. And remember this incredible gift, folks, up until the end of July 25, because the show will go on listening for a long time, a value of nearly $3,000 for 20 hours of assessment. But if you just want to reach out and have a chat with him and find out if there's a fit, there's a synergy, then please do that as well. And just, dip your feet in and see, is it for me? Because you have no idea whether it is or not until you ask the right questions. And you could ask all the wrong questions, but from that you'll know which questions you need to ask. So
yeah.
he's the sleuth here. He'll work it out. So,
There's no wrong question, and there's something that I always mention. There's no stupid questions.
no, no, because again, you're not the expert, so you don't know what to ask, and you can, there's never a stupid idea. It just might not be the right idea for the right moment. But if we suppress people's ideas, we'll never have anything creative. And so, please do not hold back. If you don't understand, you speak it in your terms. Don't feel embarrassed because you're not speaking the right lingo. That's his job, not your job, right? He's there to
Yeah,
translate.
I'm here to. I might have an accent in English, but I will
Mm.
make sure I put things in plain English.
Right. So there's a comprehension there. Well, thank you so much, Eddy. And to everyone else out there with a small or growing business, and it could be two or three people, and you're growing, suddenly you're growing online and you weren't prepared for that. So many businesses fail because they didn't prepare for success and they can't keep up with success. And you need somebody that's always a step ahead of you, or that as you grow knows how to take you to that next level. And you don't go into business for the status quo just to survive. You go in there to grow. And so you need that IT support behind you that's going to help you grow. That's one less problem on your list there, and that somebody else is taking care of it and can grow with you. And somebody that cares, not a big, huge conglomerate that doesn't care. You're just another number. They'll get back to you in a week. Somebody that's there for you 24/7, which is important. Thanks so much, Eddy.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'm very honored to be part of the show today.
I'm very, very glad to have you here. So until next time, folks, you got a business, you want to grow it, you need IT, reach out to Eddy, get the ball going, have a cup of virtual coffee or coffee in person, and just see where it goes. Nothing explored, nothing, discovered. So just find out. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.